Alright, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2021 reprint of the Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Volume 2 Omnibus. Now, I'm really looking forward to this because my first ever omnibus was the Fantastic Four Volume 1. And ever since then, I read that for a Silver Age book. It's not too bad, but it really made me want to jump into the second volume because I heard so many good things specifically about the three-part series of Galactus and Silver Surfer, which happens later on in this book. And that's something I've been looking forward to ever since I picked this one up. And we're going to do a full overview of this book and the build of the book, all that kind of stuff, what's included. But I just wanted to kind of show, first of all, the covers for Volume 1 and Volume 2. And the only negative about the reprint here is the spines, which is something that I've talked about before on my channel, and you might have seen Omar from Near Mint Condition bringing it up on his. I really don't like the spines here. Volume 1 to me is perfect. It's a really big font for the Fantastic Four. You can clearly see when you're walking by that it is the Fantastic Four. You even get a bigger, you get the full name Stan Lee and Jack Kirby instead of just Lee and Kirby here. The Volume 1 is bigger. And I actually don't mind this little image here. I don't mind, but they didn't do it before, so that's why I don't want it here anymore. It's just going to be a really big eyesore. Maybe not so much for Fantastic Four because I only have the old version of Fantastic Four Volume 1, so then Volume 2, 3, and 4 should be along this line and look the rest like that, so it's not as big of a difference. But I have Spider-Man Volume 1, 2, and 4 in this old format, and I'm getting the reprints of 3 and the new version of 5, which will look like this. So I'm going to have 2 of the old, 1 of the new, 1 of the old, 1 of the new. And I feel like a lot of collectors might end up being that way. And that's just, it's really unfortunate. I hope that something happens about this. I don't think that there will be. Unless somebody starts making some custom dust jackets. That's the only way. And if they did, I mean, there could be a potential market out there for it. For not a lot of the people that buy Omnibus, but there might be a substantial amount. If you get like 5% of people that want that, there's a chance that you can make a good amount of money on that. Anyway, that's the only negative that I can say about this book. Everything else, top notch. Let's take a look. So now we can take a closer look at the book. And one of the first things that I have to address is how well that the camera is doing for the colors. The colors are absolutely popping in real life, but also on camera from what I'm seeing. And normally it doesn't translate that well. So I'm hoping that it's the same on YouTube, but this is extremely colorful and vibrant. And I love this cover. This is absolutely gorgeous. And the colors just really make it pop so much more than most omnibus. This is honestly potentially one of my favorite covers just because of how the colors pop and how everything looks. And it's 60s art. I mean, it's Jack Kirby, but still, that's a testament here. The oh so glorious spine. Look how small Lee and Kirby are now. That's kind of sad that they would do that. Like you could take obviously the space. That doesn't make sense. Okay, if you're gonna make this smaller, but why this? That is so small. Like if I keep it here, you can barely see that. I have to bring it up here before you can actually see. Anyway, let's take a look at all the gorgeous covers in the back here. Awesome. Okay, so this it goes for $100 US at $125 in Canada, and it includes Fantastic Four 31 to 60 and annuals 2 to 4. It is about a little over 800 pages for this omnibus as well. I'll take a look at the flaps. Quite a bit there, actually. Kind of explaining that, and then the creators that we always get. Now we'll take off the dust jackets. Now what I liked when I saw this, and I'm pretty sure that my Volume 1 doesn't do that, but I don't think it does. Yeah, it's just much more plain. So anyway, That's really nice. Adding just a bit more color. And see, I'd be fine if the spine was like this in here. That I'd be fine with, because, you know, you're going to have the dust jacket showing. So, eh. And then the 4 in the back with color. Now, 800 pages. And normally with something from like DC, I'd be a little bit nervous, because DC has been doing a great job with their bigger books, but a small book like 800 pages, I'd be very nervous. But this is Marvel, and this is Silver Age Marvel, which to me is one of the best bound books that you can find. So we have everybody that created the books. They have the table of contents with the page number, the year it came out, just everything. This is exactly the type of table of contents that you want. We get a nice little forward here from Stan Lee. And then we start. There's going to be a page count for almost everything, I believe. Very rarely that there's not. And we actually get the real covers, not the virgin covers. I know that some people like the virgin covers, but to me, the closer that it is to the actual comic book, the better. And it's laying flat. And because it's, you know, the Silver Age, you're going to have borders, like white borders on almost everything. So you're not going to have any gutter loss. This is, and even if it was a 2-page splash, which I don't think I ever saw anyone in here, but if there was, you'd be perfectly fine, because it's so well done. They did a great job with. I'm going to show you in a bit. They did a great job. I can't wait to dive into this. Like, I enjoyed the first volume, but it's later on, like halfway through the book, it starts to really get better. And then we have a bit of this, because I think it starts with the annual. That's cool. Wow. It's rare that I get to see like Jack Kirby art really popping out, because it's one page. It's impressive. Cool. So I'm just going to go a little bit further into the book. It didn't take me very long to stretch this book out at all. I didn't feel like it needed to be stretched out too much. And because it's Silver Age, we're still getting the fan pages, which is always interesting. Like, I don't necessarily read all of them, but every so once in a while I do take a little bit of time to take a look at some of them, and you get to, it's like a time capsule when you're reading some of this stuff. Some of it is still very relevant, but other times it's like, oh man, that is clearly the 60s. And with this book, I think we get material from 1964 to 67, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, 64 to 67. Yep. So we're getting close to the 70s. And that's maybe, I don't know if that's halfway through. No, we're still a while away. Let's get to the halfway mark. Some scrolls. That'd be close to the halfway mark right there. And let's just show the eye at that point in time. Not bad. For a small book, it's not bad. Pretty good, actually. And the more that you stretch, or I guess if you read it once, like that would actually add a lot more. There it is. What I will say though is that the pages kind of change from like a glossier feel to not as glossy every once in a while, and I don't know why that happens. There was a few X-Men omnibus that did that too. And it's really weird that it, like, I feel like volume 1 of Fantastic Four was glossy the entire time. Not extreme gloss, but it felt nice. And then this is glossy. I bet you the next issue won't be. It's not as glossy. I have no idea why that is. It is still glossy, just not as much. And it's weird that it goes back and forth like that. And now let's just go to the extras here. I didn't think that there was really a lot. But the end of the book, still opening up really nicely. There's that's the other cover that they had that you could get, but I was lucky enough that I ended up getting the actual cover from Jack Kirby instead of the variant. And that is it. That is everything for the Fantastic Four Volume 2. I can't wait to dive into this. I'm still probably going to catch up to another few books, but and there's so much Spider-Man coming up. I don't know if I'm going to read that this year. I'd like to, but there's so much Spider-Man that I want to catch up with. So we'll see. We'll see. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage!